over to Houston and get set up for Kansas State LSU football tonight, as it will be the Tax Act Texas Bowl from 8 p.m. NRG Stadium, as the Houston Texans playing surface will be the backdrop tonight between Kansas State and LSU. Shea Dixon, who covers it for Go247, is over there in Houston and joins us now. Good morning, Shea D. Happy New Year, buddy.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
John Trey Kirkland starting quarterback. You in or you out?
In on the idea or in on the reality?
Both. Reality.
The reality I'm in on. I think that is the plan.
Let's go. Bro.
Gosh, the last time I don't know if I'm in on. I'm in. I think it'll be fun, right? But you'd have to put on the Lutcher film from 5 years ago to see the last time he's done what we're going to see tonight, which we presume will be kind of a wildcat quarterback look the whole game. They're down. I know that they have two guys walk-on quarterbacks, Matt O'Dowd and Tavion Falk, and O'Dowd's hurt. So you're down to one freshman.
What happened to O'Dowd?
I think he got banged up in one of the practices. Across
Coach,
the 15 bowl practices.
Tape me up and put me in there. If I'm a walk-on, this is my opportunity. Shoot me up. Give me some good stuff. Get me in there.
It's really a chance to get the good stuff, too.
Tavion Falk is a Acadiana kid, Mikey, so maybe just put him in there.
Where'd he go?
Karen Crow, huh?
Yeah, Karen Crow.
Oh, okay.
Shea Dixon checking in from Houston. How has this been with covering LSU? 39 scholarship players, Shea, is almost crazy to say out loud, but when you're around them and you're covering this group, how does this even seem like a varsity football team, like a college football team with the numbers?
I mean, they're not far off from the numbers they've really been operating on the past, final few games in the season. And really a year ago, remember the final few games in the season, it wasn't, they had more than 39, but it wasn't much. I'll tell you this, the guys that are here look juiced up to be here. And I think a lot of guys are pumped. A lot of young guys are going to get to play. There'll be some walk-ons out there at backup spots that would never get this opportunity in a normal game, let alone in a bowl game, in an NFL venue. So the 39 guys that are here and the walk-ons that are here look pretty juiced to be here.
What is the biggest area of concern as far as numbers go? Is it the defensive backfield?
Well, I think, you look at corner for sure, and you don't have any of your normal corners. Look, it's from the UCLA game that started the season, Jordy, to now they have one player who was starting in that game on defense that's playing in this one. That's Jay Ward. Wow. Other than that, it's a myriad of things, right? It's opting out. It's transferring Eli Ricks. It's getting hurt. It's academics, whatever it might be. So you'll see a lot of new faces. I would say corner is the one that I would circle and be pretty worried about, in the sense of you got a true freshman that's really never played in Demarius McGee. You've got Darren Evans, who's played a good bit, a transfer from Nichols a couple of years ago, and then Lloyd Cole, the walk-on, are the only three guys who are even listed on the depth chart. So beyond that, it'll just be more walk-ons. We'll see if they kind of move Sage Ryan around, if they have to move any more safeties around. Obviously, Jay Ward's played corner before. You got to get creative, I would presume. Kansas State's not going to throw the football a ton, but you're pretty short-handed there. That's the one position when I look at the depth chart and I say, whoa, they don't have any of their normal guys.
Shea, you mentioned since the UCLA game, there's been so much attrition, whether it's been injuries or opt-outs or whatever. I saw yesterday that over the last 2 days, and if 2 weeks ago I did this whole math thing and I started doing numbers and stuff, over the last 2 days there's been 3,000 people put their name in the transfer portal. There's only 910 spots for transfers to go. Every team gets 7. There's 130 FBS teams. Do you think that the portal itself is going to self-regulate, basically because there's way too many people in there, there's not near enough spots?
It'll have to, and it's been that way for, I think, since kind of this whole portal era began over the past couple of seasons, because even with these like +7 numbers, and if you've got 7 guys that left, you can oversign beyond 25 and get 7 more. That's presuming every team can do that, and
right.
Not every team does have 7 guys leave, so it's on a need basis. And even then, if you're in the if you're in the portal and you're a I don't know, name a position. Well, not every team, let's say you're down to 5 or 6 options. They may not all need a, outside linebacker or whatever it might be. So there's so many different ways to find yourself left out in the cold on this. And we've already seen guys talk about it where they came out and said, like, Manny Netherly was one who went to the really good high school football player, really good high school track guy, came to LSU, was buried on the depth chart, moved kind of positions back and forth, receiver, corner, enters the portal, and ultimately gets left there. And now he's not even playing football anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that as kids become more educated on the portal, and certainly if you're Caleb Williams and you're going to the portal, there's no risk.
Right.
Anybody would take you. But I think there is a cautionary tale that you're right about, that a lot of these guys are going to start to see that the grass isn't always greener, and in some cases it's artificial turf. There's nowhere to go.
Now, I know people, for the people listening, when you put your name in the portal, your scholarship is gone. The minute it's in there, you know they no longer have to honor your scholarship, correct?
Correct. No, yeah, correct. They would not have to. And if you enter the portal, you can come back, and like we saw Brennan do that. But once you're in, you're on a 1-year scholarship. Even if you get a full ride to university, every year they renew your scholarship.
Yeah.
People don't really talk about that much, but it's just understood. You'll get your scholarship renewed. Well, that wouldn't be the case if you're entering the portal. If you're entering the portal and just staying there, and kind of LSU's got to move on. So yes, they don't honor your scholarship anymore, and you might just be stuck in no man's land.
What's the latest on Cardell Flott?
Sounds like he's turning pro. Not here, and not going through any bowl preps. So I would be, from talking to people around here, I'd be very surprised if we ever saw him play in an LSU uniform again. And not that he's transferring out. I think that he views that he had a pretty solid year, and showed some versatility playing in that nickel spot. And the buzz, at least around here, is that he's planning to turn pro.
Do you think that's a little premature? Do you think that he's kind of reached what he could do going into the draft?
I think he could definitely up his stock more if he were to stick around and play another year and be a starting corner on the outside, be an edge guy. But I think he views it as, hey, look, this was perhaps as far as I could have taken it. Maybe I won't improve my stock a ton next year. And with all the changes at LSU, and it almost reminds me, and this may be a bad example of like a Darius Days thing. Well, there's going to be a time where Jay Ward, or let's just say even a guy like Cordell Flott looks up, and none of the guys that he came here with are still here. Stingley is, injured and went pro. Ricks is leaving. Ray Darius Jones isn't here at the bowl game. Christian Fulton, all those guys have moved on. So you kind of look around and you're like, man, Corey Raymond's gone, obviously. The head coach is gone, all these different things. And you say, well, maybe now it's just the best time for me to move on. And I bet that plays a bit of a role in what Flott's thinking.
You expect Sage Ryan to get some run tonight?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Whether that's nickel or playing some corner, or they're pretty good. I mean, not super deep, but they've got guys that are on scholarship safety. So maybe he doesn't need is there as much as he is a corner and nickel. But yeah, I'd absolutely expect him to play.
Have you been monitoring the transfer portal as far as Notre Dame guys that could potentially be coming to Notre Dame, or is this too premature to start following these types of storylines?
I guess it's never too premature. I saw they had a big right tackle or an offensive tackle enter the portal. Notre Dame did. So,
and I saw a linebacker, Paul Maiola.
Okay. So, yeah, certainly at least the offensive line. And linebacker, too. Look, they're not going to have DeMoon Clark today. They want Mike Baskerville today. Mike Jones will be playing. Greg Penn will be playing. But beyond that, it's going to be walk-ons. And there is no real depth there. So I do think linebacker is a spot that they're going to have to address in the portal, whether that's a Notre Dame guy or somebody else. But no doubt I expect them to sign a transfer linebacker. And there had been buzz, man, after Kelly got hired, so maybe a couple weeks back, maybe a few weeks back, that there was going to be like this small wave of Notre Dame players entering the portal, and that most of them would try to get on at LSU. Now we haven't seen that happen yet, but yesterday, or I guess the past couple of days, or the first day, we saw Notre Dame kids actually enter the portal, and as you mentioned, now a couple of them. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. But I would be a bit surprised if at least, and I don't even know a name. I'm just saying that I'd be surprised if at least one Notre Dame guy didn't, take a very hard look at saying, hey, look, Kelly's there, a few staff members at LSU. they're in real need of players at a number of positions, and a guy might make a leap like that. So, yeah, I would bet that by fall camp next year, the LSU's added at least one guy from Notre Dame's roster.
Staff is starting to firm up here as Mike Denbrock has been named the offensive coordinator. It looks like Joe Sloan officially named the quarterbacks coach. How does this have an impact on recruiting? How do you know these guys from the recruiting world? How will they fit in your opinion?
Well, Denbrock, I think you look at more of just straight, what does he do for you as a coordinator, and you don't really worry about what he does for you recruiting-wise, and that's fine. You know, you're not often finding that one of your coordinators is like your best recruiter or somebody that you're leaning on. They're way more into the X's and O's. I love the Joe Sloan hire. I mean, I've known Joe for a number of years now. I mean, he's 35, 36. He's in North Louisiana. He had been now interim head coach up at La Tech through that transition, but being the play caller in OCs, worked with quarterbacks, and you see him. My interactions with him would always come at LSU summer camp because of Orgeron, and the staff would invite everybody from every different college around the state to come and be able to eval guys, and you could just see Sloan. I mean, whether it was the coaches at ULM or Nichols, or whether it was high school coaches, or whether it was kids, everyone knew Joe, and everyone kind of gravitates towards him. I think he's going to be a great sort of tool or resource to have in terms of North Louisiana, which is an area that LSU is not always, completely owned. I think not that he's going to do that for you, but at least he's got connections up there. He's well respected. He evals well. La Tech recruits really well. He was a big part of that in terms of kind of being a lead recruiter for the staff. So I like this blend that they've got. I mean, you look at Steeples, I think he's 32. So they've got, Brian Kelly's been around the block. He's been a head coach and been in coaching now for 30-something years. I think he knows what he's doing in terms of blending the youth with guys like Denbrock, who are more experienced, House. I like what I've seen, where we have one staff hire left to get to 10 on-field staff members. I don't look at one of them yet and say, man, I totally don't get that. Like, what are they trying to do here? There's none of that. It seems like he knows kind of what he's looking for, and they're kind of bang, bang, bang executing it across the stretch of 3 or 4 weeks here.
Any buzz since the Under Armour All-American game over the weekend, or the All-American games that are happening? Anything trending towards LSU? What's some of the storylines that are coming out of those weekends?
Yeah, we saw Harold Perkins commit to A&M. Now, I guess it's not over because he hasn't signed anywhere. We'll see if he doesn't pop up on LSU's campus and meet with the new staff over the month of January. But I thought the most notable thing was that Jacoby Matthews, in terms of announcing anything, pulled off of announcing at the game this past weekend, and now is just going to take it to February. He'll announce on signing day, and certainly he'll make an official visit to LSU. A&M's in the mix. Texas is in the mix. Florida's been trying to get involved with the new staff there. So it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out. But I thought it was really good for LSU that he didn't announce then, because that at least gives you a month of in-home visits and school visits and, potential weekend visits at LSU, official visit, all that sort of stuff to still do. It's still in front of you. So I didn't think it was going to be at the end of the world if he announced this weekend and ends up, committing elsewhere, and then you've got to flip him. But now you don't have to worry about any of that. He's still uncommitted. He didn't do anything. And you can kind of really prioritize him, Trevante Citizen, guys like that in state, because they chose not to, sign early and didn't want to reveal anything at these games.
That's good for LSU, right? That's a win. Getting these guys not to sign. Yeah.
That's a dub. You'll take that.
Yeah. A&M's done. They don't need any more guys. They have too many. They have to have their limit of guys they've gotten. I'm over that. I'm over that.
I saw, Lloyd would appreciate this. I saw they, at these Under Armour games and all that, they do these little, I've had plenty of them over the years where, you'll get Jamar and Ingram and someone else, and there's 3 or 4 guys in a photo, and you're like, these are the future Tigers. A&M had one at the Under Armour game. It was an all-22. They're like, all these guys are going to A&M. I was like, what?
Oh, man. Doing? I'm so over it. I'm over it. They have too many. You can only sign 25 and then 7. Okay, they've had to have exhausted their time. I'm sick of seeing it.
Shea, I got excited when it was rod for 5, and now there's rod for all 22.
Yeah,
that's right. You remember 5 for 5.
5 for 5, baby.
For 20. If you're not filling out a full 22 at the Under Armour game,
what are you doing?
Any idea of the impact that this NIL stuff is going to have on recruiting with Texas A&M cleaning up like they are, and it's obvious that they have embraced stuff like NIL? Do you get an idea of what the future looks like around recruiting towards this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we could have predicted exactly how it would have unfolded like this, where you mentioned A&M. Texas is out there just blanket statement. Hey, if you're an O-lineman and you sign, you're on the team, you get $100,000 a year. They had like 5 dudes commit within like 7 days. I was like, sweet, I'm in. Like, where do we sign up? I think that probably like everything is cyclical, and this is my opinion, that there'll come a time where and maybe not, but a lot of these businesses figure out, okay, what's the market value here of these guys? What am I getting from this? Are we just getting better at football? Am I giving, $100,000 to every alignment and half the team quits and goes in the portal, and then the other guys suck, and then 2 of them are good, and we go 7-5? There's no ROI there. What am I doing? I think that in the sense of just big spending, that it'll even itself out, and these businesses ultimately will just say, hey, look, it sort of whittles back down to the Derek Stingley's and the Caleb Williams and the Keyshawn Butte's of the world, and not everybody is getting a brand new car or whatever it might be. I sort of think that
they've moved past the cars. I think they've moved past the cars at this point.
They're
millions now, bro.
They're getting summer homes.
Yeah. They have the house up in the mountains now in Aspen right now.
But you mentioned go ahead.
Do you like Tulum?
Hey, Bora Bora is nice this time of year, I've heard.
Yeah,
don't even worry about the bowl game. Texas A&M didn't even play the bowl game. They had vacation to go on.
Did they opt out? No. Their winter house does the whole NIL thing. They don't play the bowl game.
It's a team ski trip. But you mentioned name, image, and likeness, obviously, with Texas A&M and what they've done. I'm more interested in what happens next year with them in the transfer portal. They have so many highly ranked guys, and you've seen people bounce into the transfer portal like Mikey set up with almost 3,000 players in there. But they're going to be like ripe for the picking, I would imagine, when they have all of these 4- and 5-star guys that are committed. There's not enough room for all of them, and these are all guys that can play immediately. Do you expect to see at least 3 or 4 guys from A&M next year into the portal? Because there's just not enough room.
Yeah, there'll be no doubt, because all these guys are going to want to go in and play, and they were the man on their high school team. A lot of these guys are really good. So, yeah, if that's happening even pre-NIL stuff, it's going to happen now, and maybe even more so. I know it seems like every A&M, and I guess we're talking specifically about them, but every time I would see them pop a new 5-star, all the mentions on Twitter, it was like Texas fans who ever LSU, and then like, cool, we'll just get them next year, and they're in the portal. It's like, oh, man, y'all are salty, but you're right. You're not going to be able to start them all.
What do you expect tonight?
Oh, man. The line is – what was it? Like LSU was favored by a couple to start. Now they're like 7-point dogs. Mm-hmm. So I would imagine – and I'm guessing – I don't know this for a fact – that K-State has more than 39 scholarship players. So I'm guessing they're just going to operate as normal, which they had – taken a number of teams this year to the ropes. I can't remember. Did they beat OU or didn't beat OU? Maybe they just came close in that game. But talented enough. They played a lot of good teams. I think I'd be surprised, I guess, if K-State lost this game. But then again, these past couple of years, and y'all know this, when we've seen LSU play their best was when they were down on numbers. And the guys that were out there were the guys that wanted to be out there. Yep. I think there's something to be said for that. So, I think it'll be close. I do not think LSU goes in there and just gets routed and everyone's like, they lost 35-3. What's going on? They didn't have any scholarship guys. Like, I think it'll be a close game.
So the +7's a good bet, is what you're saying.
Well, don't make me lose your money in the new year.
No, it's I'm losing my money on myself. My betting right now stinks. But I'm getting it. I need to get some money. I'm going +7.
Cheese in the over and LSU.
Big LSU contingency already embedded in Houston, but what'd the road look like traveling over? Do you expect a big LSU faithful coming in from Louisiana?
I would assume so, and I know a lot of folks are, as you said, look, if you're in the Houston area or within a drive and you're an LSU fan, you're like, okay, I'm coming regardless. It's whatever. It's at 8 p.m. I can go over the day of and go to the game and stay at the hotel and roll out. I will say, though, there's a lot of Kansas State fans here, and I interacted with a few of them, and they don't care about LSU. They love horns down and hating on Texas, which LSU signed with, and they're obsessed with hating on Kansas. And I presume that's like Kansas basketball. So it's in terms of a fan perspective, they seem like great people. They hate Kansas basketball. They hate Texas football. Cool, it is what it is.
Yeah, right.
They kind of got the short end of the stick. They leave the cold, and it's still cold down here. They probably thought they were coming down here and it was gonna be nice 70 degrees, and now it's a little cold. It's a little chilly. It's 32 degrees down here.
Yeah, I saw a lot of them. They were in shorts and T-shirts. Okay, where are y'all coming from?
Yeah.
Have a great evening, bro. Have a great night. Enjoy Houston. Come in, check in the new studio when you get back.